Picture this. You're making your dream game in whatever genre you like to make games in, and you've already got the core mechanics down. You can interact with the UI, attack enemies, whatever the core gameplay loop is in your game. But while exploring around your game, something doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel satisfying to interact with the elements that you've put in place. Maybe it feels less like you're clicking buttons in a video game and more like you're scheduling a doctor's appointment from a website built in 2006. Sound familiar? That's where something that I like to call juice comes in. All of the little details and tricks you can use to make your game feel more alive and more satisfying to interact with. When I say juice, I'm talking about the bits of feedback that make an action feel rewarding. Maybe it's a little bit of animation, sound design, little pops of motion. If it's a mobile game, little vibration, stuff that makes your brain go, yeah, that felt pretty good. And in my opinion, throughout my development career, that's something that brings a raw mechanic into a realm of being enjoyable to play. I'm going to show you two super simple examples that I made using some ideas that I like to use in my own games, just to get the ideas flowing on some things that you can add to your own games. Example number one is the button. I'll move over so you guys can see it. So example number one would be a button. It works fine. It turns on and off, and it's pretty clear when it's on and off. But if your game features a lot of button clicking, like, interacting with UI is a mainstay of what you're going to do, this is probably something that we'd want to make as satisfying and fun to interact with as possible so that players just enjoy the game more. So here's some things that I like to do to improve my clickable buttons or just anything interactable on the UI. So check this out. Now, when you hover over it, there's a little bit of feedback that shows you that your mouse is over it. When I click, the button compresses slightly, the drop shadow moves closer, and there's a little click down sound. You know what I mean? Like on the mouse. And then when I release, it makes that mouse release sound. It makes the player actually want to click it. Something else I like to do is throw in a little subtle sine wave motion that kind of draws the eye a little bit more and breaks up just the still stagnant screen, So all of these little touches, like the sound, a little bit of animation, and a small amount of movement add up and make this button just a little bit more fun to click on and off all the time, And you don't have to make buttons exactly like I did. These are just a few ideas that I like to do to my own buttons, Let's say you make a few buttons like this. You can combine them with GameMaker's UI layers to create really, really robust UI systems, and it'll help you set up your UI faster, organize these elements a little bit better, and kind of just put your games together quicker. And it'll make using these little dynamic effects you're trying to program easier to actually implement into the project. Now let's get a little bit more violent. Example 2 is attacking an enemy. I don't know. This is Thundergoober. Let's attack him. Here's the default. He loses HP. You can see that happening. He says there's a little sound effect. It's like, ouch, whatever. And that's about it. It works. It functions, but it's not very exciting. So in the juiced up version, what I did is basically the main difference is that he shakes around randomly when you punch him. Plays a punch sound, which is a bit more satisfying, and also some really simple particles fly out of him. If you've been learning GameMaker and you're still new, keep in mind all of these effects are very, very, very easy to program using GameMaker's built-in functions. For example, the shaking effect is just a variable called shake, and when I click on him, it goes to 5 or 6 or whatever, and it uses GameMaker's lerp function to slowly get brought down to 0. But while it's above 0, it picks a spot at its maximum value and its negative value. I just put a minus sign in front of it, and for the X, Y, and angle, it just picks a random spot in there and adds it to its position, and it makes it bounce around like crazy. It's super easy, and it makes it feel like it's a real impact, like whoosh. Wait, watch this. This is gonna be a fun edit. Whoosh, whoosh. Okay, sorry. So once you start experimenting with these types of feedbacks for whatever kind of elements you're doing, it doesn't have to be a button, doesn't have to be attacking an enemy, it could be picking something up, it could be whatever. I'm going to show a little clip here from my mobile game, Booby Garden. You'll see how I make the creatures wobble all the time. There's always movement, there's always feedback, clicking things, there's the phone vibrates in your hand. There's millions of ways for you to add satisfying feedback to your elements. It's just kind of knowing that this idea exists and having a few ideas and just being able to experiment on them. Just don't get too wrapped up in this so that you forget about the actual game. The actual game still has to be fun. And you can take this another step further by using GameMaker's prefab libraries. First off, you can grab prefab assets from the asset bundles and use them for free. Using those in your game are super simple, and creating and using your own prefab assets, like, say these buttons you create now, can help you organize your assets, speed up your development, use the same consistent objects across multiple projects, keep your code and your development consistent, and save you time on polishing elements. And they're pretty good for standardizing your growing systems across projects that will just get bigger and bigger. I hope that you got something out of my quick explanation of the idea of adding juice to games, because I think that if you're doing a game jam, if you're starting a small prototype and it starts kind of snowballing into something you actually want to work on, this is just something you can do that's quick It's easy, and once you know it's there and once it's in your brain, you're going to be able to apply anywhere, especially using the prefabs. It'll be easier to just, grab and apply these effects. I've played a lot of games from game jams. I've hosted a game jam. People make these games really quick, and if they were to add just a little bit of juice, I feel like it would just bring everything so much fun. It's like, this is a cheat code. This is a cheat code to making better games. Not that anybody's games are bad. Even the most simple game loop, even just a nothing burger game, as a joke for a game jam, this is a cheat code. This is a way to make your game just feel professional, fun, satisfying. Dopamine. My name is Nico, and I've made 2 RPGs now in GameMaker, Athenian Rhapsody and the upcoming Tales of Tuscany out next year, and I had no programming experience, no game development, nothing. I used to work landscaping. I have no idea what I'm doing, and now I do, because GameMaker is easy to use. So take it from that perspective, and if you have any questions on anything I said in this video, feel free to just drop a comment. I'll reply from the Athenian Rhapsody YouTube. You want more ideas, more information, blah, 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 feedback, I don't know, you hate my room, you hate my shelf, just let me know and I'll reply. So thank you.